Well, yeah, I believe it's like 5%. I believe that they allow 5% of
5%?
our.
5?
Yeah, five.
That's
I think it's five
insane.
percent. Yeah, yeah, 5%
It can't be
bleach.
that. You're lying to me.
bleach
It cannot be that high.
just call me D.
D? I can call you D. No worries. All right. Uh, pronouns?
Hello,
You there? Pronouns? Hello?
hello.
Oh, hold on. What are your pronouns?
Oh, he, him.
He, him.
Uh,
Perfect.
yeah.
All right.
Stereotypical cis white whatever.
Perfect. Just like
Um,
me. Uh, so, Mr. D, he, him. Excellent. We are going to have a little bit of a discussion. I hesitate to call it a debate because, like, I think on a base level, we probably agree that veganism is the ethically correct decision to make, right? I think that
yeah.
ethically speaking, I said this earlier in the stream, but just for the sake of the video, and you are fine being on video, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
This would be my first time.
perfect. We'll go easy on you. But I want to be respectful because you seem like a good guy, and I want to hear you out. My just real quick to give you my position because this is going to be about veganism and just like convincing me, basically. Just tell me if I'm wrong here. Convincing me that veganism, if you're not vegan, then you can't basically, this sounds harsh, but you can't claim to you can't claim to care about global warming. Is that correct?
Yeah, like in my experience, it's like you're expecting somebody to give up millions of dollars to not even make a change in the world that would cause climate crises to drop below like 50%, whereas one change can completely negate over half of global warming that you can personally make a change in your life to do. And it's something that every individual in the stream, every person that you talk to, every person that is in your family, every single person across the United States could personally have an impact on taking charge and taking responsibility and accountability of their own actions to make the world a better place. In terms of global warming, not to mention the ethics and all that sort of stuff.
Okay, fair enough. I do believe in personal responsibility and standing by your convictions. So I hear where you're coming from. What I would what I would ask you is, here let's. I'm gonna jump straight to the comparison. Do you purchase shirts for like under $20 ever?
Oh yeah, I mean that I understand. I understand where you're coming from here. So,
Yes.
um,
So I won't
wh-
waste time then.
what okay, so basically, what I'll say about that is whenever it comes to convenience and everything like that, I do understand that for some people it is impossible. But even okay, so in the 8 years I've been vegan while homeless. I've been vegan while making minimum wage. I've been vegan the entire time. I've done things which I would not suggest to anybody, but I've had times in my life where I've had to eat nothing but chia seeds and rice for like a couple of months for sure, and it was hell on earth. Let me tell you.
It
Uh,
sounds like it.
I never, yeah, eating that crap with like mustard and like freaking like I put like sugar on there or something like one day just to change up the flavor, bro. It was bad. But point
I,
being,
I've
like,
I have a huge amount of respect for you already. Seriously.
yeah, that crap was awful. But uh, it was something that I thought that I think that history will look back upon us as individuals, and they will judge us greatly upon our moral shortcomings. Even amongst the left wing, where we're supposed to be the moral right, I
Mhm.
compare it to like slavery. Uh, thinking back on it, you're forcing upon these things onto others that don't want it. It's harmful to your body. It's harmful to the environment. There's nothing to gain, everything to lose, and the only thing about it that's like a positive is the convenience and the taste. Those are the two things that people jump towards, right? And I
I would
think
say
the
mainly
main reason.
convenience, but yes. Point taken.
Exactly.
Point taken.
Exactly, and I think that with a rise in demand, it would force our government to kind of change the way that we look at our system as a whole. Uh, for every individual that changes,
A
that's
rise in
hundreds of
demand,
thousands.
just to be clear, a rise in demand for vegan foods.
Yes, yeah,
Gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha.
Not just just vegan, just like I guess it'd be foods that be considered vegans. I mean, like if you consider peanut butter and jelly vegan, yeah, go for it.
Right.
If you consider Takis vegan, even even like the most junky junk foods,
Oreos are vegan,
uh,
right? I got you.
yeah, exactly.
That's the
So it's
go-to.
like, yeah, just like any sort of like, it's just to more drive down the demand for the harm of animals and to also preserve more of Earth's resources.
Mhm.
Global warming and global boiling has become an extremely hot topic. Um, I'm sorry if I'm kind of ranting
No,
on.
please continue.
My point, yeah, my point being is like I just I want to see like I know for a lot of people, I think it comes down to traditions. Who doesn't want a Thanksgiving without turkey? Who doesn't want a Christmas without ham? Who doesn't want to have like eggnog and like all the comforts that come with our childhood nostalgia and everything like that. It's kind of like attacking America,
Absolutely.
like the American identity as a whole whenever you do that sort of stuff. So,
Absolutely.
uh, my my goal today would be like, uh, basically trying to, how do I say this, attack those traditions while also, because we gotta recognize that
How about
those
just real
patterns.
quick? How about attack the elements? Just to steel man you,
Yeah,
attack those elements of that tradition. You don't want the
yeah,
tradition to go away. Like people should
no,
still celebrate
absolutely,
Christmas, just not with a ham,
yeah, exactly,
right?
exactly.
Just to steel man you.
Um, yeah, and you could still do different, like we do different things. My significant other, God bless her heart, she goes above and beyond to make some of the most crazy uh, things that I've ever seen before. Made from scratch. She makes vegan. She's made vegan turkeys, vegan hams, and all that stuff. And I'm not saying that every individual can do that across the United States, but
Of
the
course.
more people that do make that change, I think will cause will force change in the American system to help preserve the world. Um,
Mhm.
I think that if we decide to do that, if we decide to vote with our dollars, unfortunately, as stupid as that is, I know it's like, oh, like we're just one individual. How is that going to change anything? My thinking has always been, well, just because I'm one person, it also means that me as an individual, I've already saved hundreds of thousands of gallons of water. I've already saved so much, just as me's one person. I couldn't imagine what 10, 15, 20, 100 people have been. And not to mention, the community of vegans, I think, has gotten better.
Hmm.
Um, there's
Just
still,
if I may request, may you wrap up shortly so I can
oh,
respond to some of
sorry.
your points. You're no, please, you're fine. You're doing great. I just want to make sure that I can respond to your points so I don't forget them.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to, just step in right now because
Sure.
I don't want to kind of rant.
No, you're doing great. So I hear you, and you're making solid arguments. You are. And I do believe, like I said, and just real quick for the audience, just in case people didn't understand where I was going. I know you do, but just in case the audience didn't understand where I was going with the shirt thing, um, that is a argument about like sweatshops and stuff, because that's where t-shirts under like $25 are made. Along with a bunch of
Mm,
other clothes. So if you're participating, my
Stagnant.
argument was if you're participating in that practice, then what makes you think that I should listen to you about, you know, um, the convenience of veganism, right? That was my argument, and he addressed it very well. So, and that's true is that you do need shirts, you need clothing, um,
Yeah.
and as far as veganism goes, you can with very very few. I think there. I don't even know like how many exceptions there are. Like you can basically get all the nutrients you need without meat products or animal products. As far as I know, no matter what condition you have, I'm sure there's something out there that requires some kind of meat product, but they're extraordinarily few and far between. So your argument is very sound. Now, what I would pose to you is I do agree with you that perhaps there will be a day where society looks back and says, I cannot believe those disgusting, filthy heathens used to eat meat. And I hope for that. I do, because I don't want to kill animals. I think about that a lot, actually. Not like daily, but often enough. I don't like killing animals. I own animals, own quote unquote. I have pets, so
Yeah.
it feels weird to say I own them. They live with me, but I have pets. I have little fur babies, and
Yeah.
um and I hate the thought of eating that or having or thinking somebody else might eat my pet. So I hear you, and I do hope for that future. But here's the thing, and here's where you're going to get caught up every single time. People tend toward convenience all the time, no exceptions. So you're not going to convince anybody with this line of argument. You're simply not, unless they're already on your side. You're simply not. So
Right.
in a productive sense, right? If you really want to get shit done, the way that you do that is you have to advocate for ways to make it more convenient for people to be vegan. You have to do that. And I think that should be done, by the way. I do advocate for that. What's funny is I was actually just, I'll wrap up here, but I was, oh shit. I was just wrapping, sorry, I'm playing a game.
No worries.
I was just reacting to a video. It's called, a series called The Tuttle Twins. I don't know if you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you watch that?
I just saw that. Yeah, I just saw a little bit of it. I kind of try to watch like a bunch of people like you, Shark, Fosh, all that sort of stuff while
Oh,
I'm
very nice.
driving to work.
I'm honored to be a part of that roster now. Thank you.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Dude, after that Matt Walsh, bro, you fucking popped up.
you don't
Yeah.
gotta stroke me too hard, but thank you. I appreciate it. But basically, the reason I bring it up is because there was that guy, that blonde Matt Walsh guy in that video, in the Tuttle Twins video, who was shitting on oat milk, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
what's
I mean, about
the
the demand. It was like the demand for oat milk raised the price of it to where it's more expensive than milk right now, and that actually leads me into my next
no,
point.
actually, from my understanding, I think you're wrong on that, because from my understanding, the irony of that being in the video is that the dairy industry was heavily subsidized, and that's why oat milk's so
Exactly.
expensive. Yeah. So I
Exactly.
didn't know that going into the video. I wish I had, because it's so ironic that they would bring that up in a video about subsidies. And so that's why when I was like, "There's no way oat milk can be that expensive. It's oats." I was wrong. It's like twice as expensive as dairy milk, and that's why people don't fucking get it.
Yeah, and that's
Go
the
ahead.
crazy part too.
Yeah.
Uh, so without dairy subsidies, like you're saying, and it's not just dairy too. The animal agriculture industry in general, is heavily subsidized. McDonald's burgers would be upward, like I think it's like at least $20. They were saying predicting up to 50, $75, which is what I believe it should be,
Absolutely.
because it should be a luxury item. It shouldn't be something that Americans should be eating every day, and it's proven time and time again with
Well,
the amount of heart disease, diabetes, cancers that are caused by this stuff.
yeah,
We
red
would
meat is
think
really
that,
bad.
yeah, yeah. Not to like ramble on too much, but
No, please,
that is
please.
exactly my point. If we took those same subsidies that were given to animal agriculture progress and giving them to the plant-based substitutes instead, our meals would be like 80% less. Like we would be talking pennies, like $1 for a burger. 50 cents for a hot dog. Like our milk would be like 30 cents for an entire gallon. Like, could you like I could imagine it now. Food would be so cheap if we were able to get off the animal products and get onto plant-based plant or like plant-based like alternatives in general. That's been something that I've wanted for basically my entire journey since I started this 8 years ago. Uh,
I believe it.
and Yeah, it's something that I've always thought was interesting because everybody talks about like, oh, we need to like a big thing that like I also believe in is like we need to nationalize the energy sector, which is true because then we can move away from gas and fossil fuels. But like I think that like that stuff is kind of like like the forest within or like a tree within the forest. You're hitting one thing, but it's like a tiny blip on the grand scale of everything. Um,
Interesting.
and we don't have to sacrifice that much. All we have to do is just change the way that we, uh, you know, just because you need red paint, right? Does that mean you need to go kill an animal to get to like slice its throat and then like pull the blood to make paint out of it, or can you get the same red paint from like a bead or like a like red lipstick or something like that? That's like $1. That's a really bad example, but the point being
I
is like
understand.
you could yeah, like it's like you're trying to we can achieve these same things. We have food scientists that are literally working on that have been working on this for a while, which is why we have some of the great substitutes that we do today and beyond and possible. But unfortunately, without the subsidies that animal agriculture has over the over the plant or over the vegan substitutes, we won't be able to get the future that we need. And the climate crisis has, exploded right now,
Yep.
as everybody agrees. And I think that if we could get onto the subsidies and getting that stuff into our fast food too, um, going from McDonald's to McPlant, and Impossible Burgers into Burger King. Except for I'm not a big fan of Impossible. They use heme iron, which is a cancer causing agent in red meat.
Mm.
That's why Beyond is better if you ever are shopping out there.
Okay.
Um,
I've had Beyond Burgers. Not bad.
yeah, yeah, not bad. But like if you're
It's
trying to
not
get
as like what's the word? It's not like as it doesn't feel like it fills my mouth up as much, but it's not bad.
Yeah, I think the main issue with plant-based substitutes right now, if I
Mhm.
had to target one thing today where I'm like, that's an issue, in terms of matching the flavor profile of meats in general, is you can't do the rarity the same way. So like say you want medium rare, well done, rare, etc. It's a lot harder to hit those notes with plant-based meats unless you have food scientists working alongside with chefs at high-end kitchens, for the super luxury, dream pipeline of the future.
Right.
You know
So
what I
just
mean?
to right. So just to get back on point. So
Yeah. So,
no, you're fine. I let don't worry. If I want to stop you, I'll stop you. I'm very good at that. But the reason that I brought up the subsidies is specifically because um, like I was saying, let me paint a scenario for you because I feel like this helps best illustrate my point. Say that you have a single mom of 5 kids and she gets McDonald's for them all the time because that's all she can afford. She works 60 hours a week at 3 jobs, right? Let's just say that. Three part-time
okay.
jobs, 60 hours. And she gets McDonald's for her kids all the time and herself. You now have to convince this person to be vegan. How are you going to do it?
I would suggest her to go to Taco Bell instead. You could get cheesy bean and rice burritos, Fresco style.
Taco Bell is 5 miles farther than McDonald's.
Damn. All right. Same with Burger King and Carl's Jr. Then.
They're a little closer, but still farther. McDonald's is more convenient.
Actually, yeah, no, those are. Mm. Then for that one, but rice is so much. I was gonna say because you can get beans and rice for super cheap. Um, there's new, there's new top ramens that you can get for like 25 cents a bag. At Walmart, like at all WalMarts, I'm pretty sure. I'm not positive because I've been mostly on the West Coast my entire life.
Okay, well
But
there's no Walmart. I'm in a food desert.
oh man, okay,
Do you see where
food
I'm going with
desert.
this?
Yeah, I mean that. I guess that's in like the extreme circumstances.
Sure, but
Absolutely, yeah.
they exist.
And,
So my point is, that's an extreme circumstance, but that's to demonstrate to you what you're fighting for right now. And
right, right. And
what you're doing is an uphill battle. And it's going to be an uphill battle regardless, but that is like 90-degree incline. You're not going to accomplish anything that way. So, but rather
absolutely,
than, in my opinion, rather than convincing individuals, the smarter utilitarian option to me is simply to make it more convenient for people to get vegan food. And that way you don't have to go through all the stress of like, well, it's more convenient to get a burger or it's cheaper or I like the taste of it.
absolutely.
You have to make it so that these things, and a lot of vegan food does taste very good, but let's be honest, a lot of it's also pretty expensive and inconvenient
Yeah,
to get.
wait,
So you
absolutely.
have to make it more convenient.
Absolutely, yeah. That's kind of been something that I've argued for years too. Is the subsidies made are made towards animal agriculture is a big problem in American society today. That's been
Mhm.
something that I've wanted to fight against for a millennia now. Like I said, so I agree with you on that. I just went. I've been trying to find ways, or I've been trying to find any way of positioning against this stuff. Most of the ways I've been getting into it was I feel like once again it's always taking off a tree instead of hitting the forest. Instead of attacking subsidies, they always are like they try to attack big animal agriculture industries and say like you can't serve uh, you can't have factory farms in XYZ place,
Right.
and they'll
So
sign petitions for
I
it.
would argue though that you're also hitting the trees and missing the forest. with your approach, because your whole argument here, like the reason we're having this debate or discussion, whatever you want to call it, is you said like any like progressive person worth their salt who cares about global warming and climate change, whatever you want to call it, it would be vegan, correct?
I would say that you would do the best you could. You would do the most that you
Right. So
could.
like for instance, instead of red meat, I tend to get chicken
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I don't think chicken
That
is quite as harmful for the environment. It's not quite as harmful for
yeah,
your body, etc.
yeah. It's not as bad. It's definitely like what do you call it?
A step
The
up.
best way I could describe it is like instead of taking a leg kick to your face, you're kind of taking like a short jab.
Yeah, and I think if
You
you
know,
explain it to people that way and just say, well, instead of like getting a burger, how about a chicken sandwich? I mean, like, let's put it this way, and I know I keep using metaphors, but when I tell people to stop smoking as a healthcare provider, I say, listen, whatever amount you can smoke less is a win. It's a W. So if you go from a pack to a
right?
half, that's a W. If you go from a half to a quarter, that's a W. One cigarette a day instead of two, W. And that's how you have
That's
to
actually
frame it.
kind of yeah. That's actually the approach I've kind of taken with my family too.
Cool.
For example, my uncle, we whenever I met him, he wasn't about it at all. But then he's been slowly like introducing more and more things into or of the vegan lifestyle into his life since I've kind of brought it up to him,
That's
which
good.
is
That
really
means
awesome.
that means that you're doing good work. That means that you are being very
Yeah.
convincing. Good job.
Yeah, and I've been doing it with my significant other's grandmother. She'll smell what we're cooking in the kitchen. We'll make her a plate too. And that's kind of but that's part of my thing too. Is like as much as I kind of do think that like it is like it is great work that you guys are doing. I just wish sometimes that you would take the time to sort of really focus in on how much damage the animal agriculture or how much the animal agriculture industry has done to not only push propaganda onto the minds of the American population and honestly the whole world. People still think that you need dairy for milk, even though it literally breaks your bones. People who drink more milk tend to break more bones than
Really? Delve
people who
into
don't
this.
drink
I'm
milk.
interested. Seriously.
Even back since the 1920s, we've been pushing animal products onto the youth with the food pyramid, scheme. Basically,
Now that I know. That the food pyramid's
yeah,
bullshit.
yeah, exactly. So that's like a prime example right there. That was I think everybody's seen the Got Milk posters at your local schools too. That is a direct, funded, it's directly funded by, Got Milk is directly funded by obviously dairy industries. And they put it into your schools. It's literally everywhere.
Yep.
Um, Posted where our kids see it, and everybody and they the you need calcium for milk thing. I think that where I learned about that one was it was in an old documentary. I can't remember if it was What the Health or Cowspiracy, but point being, like, what they found out was like uh every they asked even an Asian man over in China like, what do you need milk for, and he said for calcium, and then they ended up finding out like you get like 20 times more calcium by consuming like basically just random green leafy vegetables than dairy.
Really?
And
That's that. I did not know that.
yeah, and dairy also contains and this is a really scary part too, is after they found out that dairy had a direct correlation with breast cancer, instead of taking it off of food shelves, what they did was the dairy industry, like for example, I'm not sure if you ever remember this. If you guys remember this,
Hmm.
the like Yoplait used to put the Breast Cancer Association on their lids, and they had the pink little ribbon thing on all the dairy thing, and said like every
On
time you buy one of these, some of it goes funded to the Breast Cancer
and you
Association.
said that's like on milk. Sorry, I might have misheard you. Milk cartons or
Oh, it was on it was on yogurt. It was on
yogurt.
the
Sorry,
Yoplait yogurt.
I missed it. I missed it.
Yeah. I remember specifically as a kid, I remember seeing those, and then they were saying basically that like, oh well, that's great. Well, like now, like somebody brought up research that basically showed the correlation between eating eating like yogurt and eating dairy, and the correlation with that uh, and breast cancer growth, and how we can prevent prevent it in the future.
Mhm.
And when that stuff was brought to the attention of people at the head of like cancer research and all that stuff, they decided to like shut it down and basically like hide away as much as possible. And they didn't bring it up to the attention of nobody because they were funded directly by the dairy industry.
Just real quick, I want to address in chat. Increased standard of living for humans will always be downstream from increased standard of living for animals. Sorry, switch that, reverse it. Increased standard of living for animals will always be downstream of increased standard of living for humans. You are correct about that, but here's the thing. Humans ain't going to exist if global warming takes
If there's
hold, if
no,
climate change takes
yeah,
hold. And the animal industry, he is correct. D here is correct about this, okay, guys? The animal industry is enormous, an enormous polluter when it comes to global, climate change. Because,
yeah,
you know, methane, like there's other factors, but methane from cow gas is just one example. So
yeah,
he
that's
is
a
correct
huge
about
fact.
that. So, you know, improving, you know, just besides the animal abuse, which is disgusting, even just for our sake, you know, switching to like plant-based alternatives is a good thing to do to combat climate change, and I agree with that. Um,
Oh,
so you're
what,
correct
what,
that humans will always come before animals, but you know, to put this in perspective, this isn't just about the animals.
yeah, oh, okay, sure. Like you
I
want
was talking to
like
the chatter. Sorry.
yeah, yeah. To give that person even more context, because I'm used to, once again, like I've had swarms of people come at me over this topic before, bro. Like that's why I tiptoe around it so much, bro. Like
Mhm.
I am, you know, PTSD from like 100 billion people coming at me like, where do you get your protein? Where do you get this, that, blah, blah. Oh, what about this? What about that? And it's like, oh, okay, okay. You
Well,
first bullet
yeah, you
point. Bullet.
fucking live under capitalism. Sorry, like that's an inevitable thing that you have to do. Sorry, I need my car to get to work. Like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's like, yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Especially in my job, bro. HVAC. Oh yeah, dude. Such a green industry. Uh,
right, yeah, yeah.
nah, dude.
No, I get it.
Um, but what was I saying? The point,
Mm.
to circle back to that person. Um, even if you were like, oh yeah, I don't care about any animals, dude. Like, what about us? Well, for example, factory farming in general, has actually led to worse living outcomes for minorities and immigrants as well. Typically, people who are
Oh yeah.
coming over the border, they end up working the only jobs where they can, and these animal agriculture industries know that, so they'll make it harder for people to migrate over to America, so they can put them into the meat packaging industry, and that's where people end up losing arms, legs, fingers. You know, you eat this stuff too. It ends up becoming your ground beef. You end up, you know, having fingernails and rats, and you know, and I'm sure like just they allow a certain amount of bleach and cow blood into your milk as well. Like and that's
Interesting.
like a part of like, well, yeah, I believe it's like 5%. I believe that they allow
Five
5% of
percent?
our,
5?
yeah,
That's
I think it's five
insane.
percent. Yeah, yeah, 5%
It can't be
bleach.
that. You're lying to me. It cannot be that high. You know,
Unless I'm
I maybe
remembering.
you know what? I gotta look this up because I'm not trying to accuse
Yeah,
you of lying, but like
no,
that sounds
no worries.
very high.
If it is, I could see it being 2 to 2.5, maybe 2. I don't know. I thought it was 5 though. And this was back in 2016 whenever I heard about this. I believe. Again, I've been out of the vegan statistics game for a very long time. I kind of gave up on it a long time ago. Just because like I wasn't able to really have a discussion with anybody of relevance, and I never felt like my voice really mattered, that sort of thing. Doomer pill, blah 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 blah. You know, uh, after like I never saw my family making any changes and the people around me making any changes, I thought, what good am I going to do in the world? Uh,
Uh, another
Terrible
thing
space.
Another thing is you have to remember with like dangerous substances like bleach and like lead, there's always going to be traces of everything in everything. So like in milk, By federal regulations, bleach needs to be used at a concentration of no greater than 200 parts per million, which could generally be achieved by
Okay.
using no more than 1 tablespoon of bleach per gallon of water. So it's a tablespoon of
Okay.
bleach that is allowed in your milk, in your gallon of milk.
Makes-
Which I mean, still, like like that still sucks. Like I'm not gonna take a fucking tablespoon and dump it into my fucking milk.
Yeah.
Dump bleach into my milk. So point taken, right? Like we do allow probably, if I had to guess, too much of that shit into our milk. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So point taken.
Um, and that's not to mention also like decapitated limbs that end up into our meat packaging and stuff like that
Wonderful.
too. That's
Yeah, I
all
believe
like
it.
that's all the like the jigsaw Saw movie horrors of the animal agriculture industry. I'm not even trying to like scare people with that sort of stuff.
Well, all you have
I'm
to
just trying
do,
to
like I believe all of this without even looking it up, because if you know
yeah
what Animal Farm is, which I'm sure you do as a vegan, like that is
yeah
a horrific reality that people used to live in. It's much better than it used to be, but businesses will always push toward that reality again if we let them.
oh yeah Jungle
So
Book as well too, absolutely.
sorry, the
That's
jungle.
what
Yeah,
Animal
sorry, not Animal Farm. It was the one you said.
well, Animal Farm is part of it too. Oh
Okay.
no, Animal Farm is the communist one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry. It was
Animal Farm.
it was the jungle, I think.
Yeah, the Jungle Book was the one about the 1920s meat packaging
Yes,
industry.
that's the one.
Yeah, uh, that was that was also another eye opener for me as well. I'm sure for many Americans as well, which is why people have tried to push for more regulations. But unfortunately, the FDA has proven time and time again that they do not care about the American population, and they push profit over people. And the point, and I was also trying to make a point that there's also been like, for example, the because of factory farming being so prevalent, there was like a farm in South Carolina that was basically trying to use like the pig species to sort of like fertilize the crops and stuff like that. But because of how toxic the environment of factory farming was, like just walking outside and breathing air for the citizens of the area, it was so toxic that they literally all had asthma and they were all dying of cancer just from breathing the air. Like, could you guys imagine that?
Jeez,
Like, yeah, like you're literally going outside and breathing poison every single day of your life, and of course they're majority
disgusting,
black neighborhood. Yeah,
disgusting.
and like that's kind of like that's obviously something I want to avoid.
Of
Not that
course.
like not that like oh plant-based agriculture is so much better. We still got corn and freaking soybeans and all that stuff, which yeah, like it's not great by any means, but you're going to feed it to the pigs and the cows and the chickens anyway, so you might as well just cut the middleman out.
It's
uh
a good way of
like
putting it.
yeah, that's why whenever people they'll go, oh, you think animal agriculture is so bad, you should see plant
Well, another
they
thing I
have
want to
between
add, and I'm sure you know this, but it's okay if you don't. But I did in my undergraduate degree in biology, and we learn about like the the food chain, and every rung you go up the food chain, toxins get more. Their uh, what is it called? Their concentration increases by tenfold. So like if you let's take fish for example. Let's say that you have plankton, and the plankton has like let's just say what like 1%. Let's say 0.1% lead in the plankton, right? Just as an example. I don't know if this is true to reality, but just bear with me. So 0.1% of lead of this plankton. That means that if a fish were to eat this plankton, that means that the fish would now have a concentration, like if it consists on this plankton, I should say, the fish now has a concentration of 1% lead in it, right? And now let's say a tuna or a swordfish eats that other fish. Now that fish has 10% lead in it. So, every rung you go up the food chain, you get more of those toxins. And this is why pregnant women are advised against eating tuna and swordfish, because those are second level predators. So, like just eating plant based foods completely eliminates that problem.
absolutely.
So, just food for thought there, if you will.
And the other thing that's crazy to think about too is this is where like you talk about those people out in the food deserts, where they have to eat the animal products because it's just more convenient.
Mhm,
So it basically is like it's like a band-aid short term. I think
mhm.
that animal products can be looked at like this. They are fantastic short term survival tools. If you are stuck in a food desert, if you are stuck in the middle of Alaska, in the wilderness with nothing to eat. Animal products are 1000% the way to go. They provide fat and protein and tons of calories, and you don't have to and you can sustain yourself off of one animal carcass for months and months and months if you do it correctly. But
Mhm.
long term, you are going to give yourself cancer. You're going to give yourself heart disease. You're going to you're probably going to introduce more toxins to your body, like the heavy metals, like you were describing, heme iron, which is what do they call it, carcinogenic. Um, bears, if you, which going back to the bears thing that you're talking about,
Yep.
bears are known for having giant tapeworms and giving patients all kinds of
Ugh.
just yeah, yeah, you can
Ugh.
already see it now.
That's a great
Um,
argument.
and
That's a good one to use.
yeah, not to not to scare anybody either, because
No,
like
no, please,
um,
no. But you have a great
yeah,
point because that kind of rhetoric, it sounds like a scare tactic, but it's true, and you can tell them go look it up because that works. It works. Like I
yeah,
know it sounds morbid, but you're right. It works. It's a great argument.
and to be honest with you too, is like another thing that I've always thought was interesting is like I used to love fishing growing up. I grew up in Washington State, beautiful place. I would highly recommend it to anybody. It's where Vosh lives too, so even
Ah,
more points. Yeah, even more points. It's a beautiful green area. It's getting more. It's getting less beautiful now that the sun is coming more and more, and the rain is hitting less and less.
oh,
Unfortunately,
that
yeah.
is very unfortunate.
Yeah, like my mother, she owns this beautiful backyard, 10 acres. And the pond is 3 acres, around. And it's so beautiful. It used to be home to like all these beautiful bass, but the droughts are just becoming longer and longer. It's becoming harder and harder to sustain that ecosystem, and it's so that's one of those things where like I personally see global warming destroying places that I love, and that's one of the biggest things that I've personally seen in my life that I was like, I want to make a change for that. I want to see that back. I want to be able to go catch and release some more bass. Like I see those things. I'm just like, man, like what have we done? What have we done to this place? What happened to the American dream? I can't even afford to rent anymore. I'm embarrassed of who I am. Working in HVAC of all places, I make less than somebody working at McDonald's, and I've been there for like 7 8 months. I see people every day, you know, just like kind of going everybody's going about their business, and like nobody's even talking about animal agriculture, while the world just gets worse and worse and worse and worse every day. And like we could make food cheaper. We could fight inflation at the same time, and we could just be bringing back the beautiful lush green environment back to America. Make America beautiful again. Like hell yeah, you know what I mean? Like
Hell
fuck
yeah,
fucking
brother.
crazy. Like fuck great again. Like let's make it beautiful, bro.
True.
Like I want a beautiful green planet back. I want my backyard back. I want to go fishing again, and I want the campfires, the bonfires. I, I just want like peace back and just like more love. That's that's
Hmm?
that's like the goal at the end
Well,
of
and
the
that's
day.
another great
Um,
argument to use is like nobody wants a fucking factory in their backyard. Nobody. And that's why you
yeah,
go to these richy areas and it's all like lush green. Well, as far as grass can be lush. But you get my point. It's clean air.
thank
It's
you.
green. It's there's plant life. There's wildlife. That people like that. That is just natural. You know, to appeal to nature,
Yeah.
if you will. But you get my point. So yeah, you're right. And
Yeah.
that's another great argument.
So sorry, man. So yeah, I just want to kind of put that out with you. Put that out to you guys.
Great.
I'm not sure where you guys are all from. If you hit me up in Discord, I will provide plenty of resources to help for change. If you guys ever see any local elections coming up, please, 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 God, like I really, really want to take a stand against uh, animal agriculture. Anything that we can do to stop that industry helps stop over half of all global climate change. So like screw the electric cars, screw the Elon Musk of the world. Like that shit can wait. Like right now, anything to halt animal agriculture, push subsidies for plant-based solutions is the way to go. 1,000,000,000%. Like absolutely. Like I can't stress it enough. Anything that we can do, it's like an imperative, not just for like morals, but like survival. Like I want a place where I can have grandchildren. Uh,
Absolutely. And
I want to, yeah.
just real quick, I wanted to touch on one thing real quick because just what brought us to this discussion. So, are we in agreement then that the optimal way to go about bringing about this reality is rather than like shaming people for not being vegan, or trying to tell mom with 5 kids in a food desert that maybe she should be vegan? Like, I think that we agree. It sounds like it, that the best way to go about this is to instead, leftists, you can convince leftists to be vegan. Like, I'm not arguing that. Like, leftists are far more amenable to those arguments. But even then, I would argue that shaming them is not the way to go. Telling them, well,
Oh,
you're not vegan, therefore you don't care about global warming. I think that the
no, no,
more,
no, no.
it doesn't sound like you do that, but just so we're on the same page, in
Yeah.
my opinion, the better way to do that is to say, okay, well, if you can take small steps, switch from burgers to chicken sandwiches, switch from milk to oat milk if you can afford it, just things like that.
Yeah.
And I think we agree on that,
Um,
right?
yeah. And the other thing too is I would also like to see just more discussions in general.
Yes, yes,
Have the narrative pushed. Have put more offense, put more on the shoulders of animal agriculture and try to like shove. It feels like everybody's scared to sort of target them. I don't see anybody throwing a jab at them, and I just like I'm craving that. I'm craving that out of the left. I see it with fossil fuels, and
well,
everybody want to go after that, and I'm like,
and to be clear with you, there's a reason for that. Do you know why?
it's because nobody is. It's hard for them to. Well,
It's
it's because they.
inconvenience, but it's also culture war issues. We're too focused on securing basic rights for women and gay people.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that,
That's
unfortunately, and you're, all of this has been 1,000% accurate, and you are right that multiple things can be done at once, but most people see it, like their central identity being legal, as rightfully so, as more important than that, and it sucks, but that is the reality we live in, and so that's why me and many others have instead taken to securing, to fighting for abortion rights and gay rights and trans rights and all that. And then this, fighting the animal industry, unfortunately, takes a backseat to that. And it's very unfortunate. But that's why the faster we win these culture war issues, the faster we can tackle that other shit, right? So,
yeah.
this will take a cohesive plan, because we, as leftists, we want all of this. I think there are probably leftists that don't give a shit about veganism, and they're wrong. But to the extent that you'd have it. Let's put it this way: you'd have an easier time convincing them if they were allowed to get married to their partner. Let's just say that.
Mhm. I don't see those problems as much living in California and Washington State, where like
Fair enough.
we we don't care about that stuff. We want as many rights for as many human beings as possible. But I understand that America is a giant place.
Yes,
I've
fair
only
enough.
seen certain areas. Sorry. But yeah, you've been amazing, dude.
You
Thank you so
have
much
been
for
as
letting me.
well. Is there anything else that you would like to add? Anything you'd like to
Uh,
plug? Anything at all?
I haven't started at all. I'm actually using my phone right now. You guys can find me on Wild Rift. I go by DB Killing Spree. Find me out in California, Sacktown. If you guys want to hit me up in Discord, DB Killing Spree as well. Uh, yeah, just if anybody wants to have further discussions about this, I would love to. This community is amazing. I love this small niche of people that you have here, Alec. Thank you so much for having me on, bro.
Absolutely.
You've
And
been
go ahead.
incredible.
Well, thank you
Oh
for
no, no,
coming
no.
on. Sorry, are you done?
And
I don't mean to be awkward.
okay. Uh, keep up the good work, man. Thank you for what you do, bro. Honestly, I would love to come back anytime. I would love to have future discussions with you.
Of course.
Anything I can do to get my foot in the door.
Of course. And you know what? I have a fundraiser. I haven't talked about this yet. I have a fundraiser coming up for abortion rights in Tennessee, because that's Matt Walsh's home state and I want to stick it to him. But
Hell yeah.
following that, if you want to work together and put together a little fundraiser to fight that, I'd be open to that. You seem like a great dude. You certainly stand by your convictions, and I have a massive amount of respect for you because being vegan is very difficult. So you have absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. From what I've heard, you sound like a wonderful person. You sound like that you just want what's best for everybody, and I hope that you remember that, and I hope that you carry yourself with pride because you deserve it.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I will head out now. I gotta go watch my team get their ass kicked on national television.
Nice.
Shouts to Seattle.
I know
Shouts
the
to
feeling.
Seattle.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a good one.
Too.
That was wonderful. That was wonderful. What a good fella. That'll be a nice upbeat upload, as opposed to the the shit I've been doing lately with debate, like the one abortion debate, and you guys get my point. That was very nice. What a great guy, honestly. And go find him on Discord. I can't remember what he said his name was, but rewind the video. If you're watching this on YouTube, rewind the video and go find him on. You can click on my Discord link in the description below. You can go find him on Discord and hit him up and try to see how you out there can get involved in some of these initiatives to fight the ever-growing and disgusting, monstrous animal industry. Because it is a real problem, and I don't want to downplay that. It is a real problem. I know that we're caught up in all these culture war issues and whatever, and they are important as well. But long term, these animal industries are going to fuck us completely and absolutely if we let them. So, rewind the video, go find out who he is in the Discord. I apologize, I don't remember his name, but I'm gonna see if I can throw something together fundraiser wise after the abortion fundraiser that I'm planning. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm glad that we were able to come to a huge agreement on that and just learn a lot about veganism and why it's so important. So, if there's anything that you guys can do at home to take steps toward that, even just switching from red meat to chicken, even just switching from regular milk to oat milk, not almond milk. Do not switch to almond milk. Bad. It's more expensive and it's terrible for the environment. So no almond milk. But oat milk if you can afford it. Any other vegan alternatives? Oreos are vegan. Oreos are vegan. Not saying they're good for you, but they are vegan. So you can be vegan and still enjoy an Oreo. But yeah, anything that you guys can do is, one drop in the bucket adds up. Okay? And that's about all I got. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more, hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload. If you enjoy my content, you enjoy what I do, I really appreciate any financial help that I can get. Go to youtube.com/AlecGunterTTV/join. You got some awesome benefits, such as seeing early videos, awesome emotes that you can use in the comments of YouTube videos, and a sweet badge next to your name. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'd really appreciate if you join. It is cheaper than the cost of a blowjob from your mom. So with all that being said, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.